Hi, everyone, and welcome. I'm Troy Lambert, mystery author, editor, and education lead at Plottr. And today we're going to talk about 5 myths about plotting. Now, you might have heard that there's a right and a wrong way to plot, or you might think that plotting is complicated and boring, or you may even heard the myth that great writers don't even need to plot. I hear a lot of myths about plotting when I talk to writers, and they just aren't true. Today, I'm going to debunk all of those for you. Myth number one is that there's a right and a wrong way to plot. Now, you might be worried that the way you outline or the way you plot is wrong, that you're somehow going to mess it up, and that means your first draft isn't going to turn out and it's going to be a disaster. This can lead to plot block, which means you're stuck in the planning process before you even get started writing. The truth is, there's no right or wrong way to plot, as long as your plot inspires you and helps you write your story better. You can plot as you go or even plot during the revision process. You can also start by developing your characters, your setting, or even bringing together any research that you have done or need to do to write your story. While your process can always get better and can always improve, if it's helping you write, really, you're doing something right. Myth number two is that plotting kills your creativity and spontaneity. Now, this is a common myth because a lot of people are afraid that plotting will be too rigid and structured and will then control your story, and you won't be able to finish because it'll quash your creativity and won't let you have that freedom to just wander as a writer. But the truth is that if it's done well, plotting is really just a writing prompt that can help spark your creative juices rather than extinguishing them. That's really what your outline's for. That can help you keep your writing on track so you do actually finish your draft. Your plot can serve as a source of inspiration for your daily work. For example, if we take a look at my scene card for my book, Terminated in Topeka, you'll notice that this scene card is very simple. There's nothing more than a couple sentences, and all it's for is just a writing prompt to get me going on my writing for that day. Your scene cards and your plot doesn't have to be complicated as long as it inspires you to do the writing that you need to do to further your story. Myth number three. The third myth is that plotting is complicated and boring. Now, at first, plotting can seem like it's a lot of work and it can seem like it's really complicated, like putting together that Millennium Falcon Lego kit you got for last Christmas. Sometimes even sounds like a math problem. If Jake leaves Chicago on a train at 55 miles an hour, how soon will he reach the inciting incident? Is that 25% of his journey? Where's he headed? New York? What is a quarter of the way there anyway? Who even knows? Who even knows what time it is? But it doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be all complicated and math involved, and it doesn't have to be a super complex building project. Plotting can be a fun, creative process, just like other forms of storytelling. Really, what you're doing is just telling yourself the outline of the story throughout your plot. You don't need a whiteboard. You don't need to cover the walls of your house or your office with sticky notes like we used to do. Tools like Plottr just help you simplify the process. For example, they're plot templates with proven structures that provide simple guidance for showing where different parts of your story belong. If you look at the first part of the hero's journey, it's just a paragraph with a little bit of inspiration and a few bullet points that allows you to fill in the blanks with whatever you want. Plotting can be really, really fun and can be a really great exercise to get your brain in that writing mode and get it working. Myth number four, and this is a common one, is that plotting slows down the writing process. The problem is that plotting does take time. And sometimes as writers, we just get in this mode where we just want to get started writing our story. We've got this idea and we just want to get it down. And it seems like plotting's just another delay. Procrastinators unite, maybe tomorrow, right? It seems like a method of procrastination, but it's not really. Plotting does take some time when you're first getting started, but can actually help you write faster in the long run. If you have a map that tells you where you're going, it's much easier to follow that map and get there, and your journey will go much quicker. Many authors find that when they know where they're going, their story flows faster. It allows them to be more creative with their characters, and it can even help them finish projects they were stuck on before. Otherwise, you may spend a lot of time revising a really bad first draft. The final myth is one of my favorites. It's number 5, and it says that great writers don't need to plot. The problem is that you hear writers like Stephen King tell you they don't use outlines and that they even hate them. This often feeds your own imposter syndrome, because you're thinking, if I was a real writer like Stephen King, I wouldn't need an outline and I wouldn't need to plot at all. The truth is, Stephen King is a liar. I mean, maybe not a liar. Sorry, Mr. King. No offense if you're watching this. But what he does say when you hear him talk about not liking outlines is he talks about that he usually knows the beginning, middle, and end of a story before he starts writing. And honestly, that's a loose outline. Many other writers outline their story in the revision process if they don't outline it before they start to write their draft. They just plot at a different time, but they still plot their stories. Everybody plots. At some point, you're going to need to match up your story with some kind of a story structure if it's going to be successful. Now, these are 5 common myths that I hear about plotting. You may even have heard other ones. Do you agree or disagree with these myths? Do you have other myths that you've heard that maybe you want to hear those debunked as well? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you like this video and you want to see more like it, subscribe to our YouTube channel and smash that notifications button so you don't ever miss an update.